Hello, everyone. I hope you all are happy and healthy. Today, I want to talk about the season 6 finale of Bunk'd. I've been waiting for this finale for weeks now, and I can't believe the finale is actually out already. I can't believe the episode has aired and now the season is officially over. Yeah, I obviously watched the finale as soon as possible, and I just want to share my thoughts on this. So, obviously, there will be spoilers for this episode and probably some other things that happened in the season as well. So, if you're worried about that, then don't watch this video until you've at least seen the finale. But without further ado, let's start discussing the episode. So, what was the finale about? Basically, in the episode before this one, Jake accidentally caused a stampede, which ended up causing a lot of damage to Main Street. Because of this, the town gave Lou a huge bill to pay for the damages. Obviously, she couldn't afford that, and that's when the sheriff announced that Kikiwaka Ranch would be put up for auction if she couldn't pay for it. So, in the finale episode, Lou decides to hold a telethon while Jake, Winnie, and Bill look for the treasure. However, the telethon didn't end up working out, and even when some of the residents of the town chipped in some money, it still wasn't enough to cover the damages, and it seemed like all hope was lost. Well, that is until Jake, Winnie, and Bill came back from their last treasure hunt adventure because they indeed did find the treasure and they were able to use the treasure to save the camp. Then everyone has the last campfire and sing along for the summer and promise to meet again next year. And yeah, that's pretty much a very quick summary of the finale. I had actually predicted that they were going to find the treasure just in time to save just in time to save the ranch, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So I guess in a way that makes this finale a predictable one, but I still like this episode a lot, even though I kind of knew what was going to happen. But in all seriousness, this was a pretty good episode. There were some funny moments, particularly during the telethon scenes, because everything just kept going wrong and they managed to squeeze in like a lot of jokes in the middle of all those shenanigans. And yeah, I personally feel like the telethon scenes were probably my favorite part of the episode, probably because, like, first of all, my favorite characters in the show were involved in those episodes. But I was also curious to see what everyone was going to do for the telethon. But it seemed like, aside from Noah, Parker, and Victoria, Kikiwaka really doesn't have that many talented people. Of course, Destiny is really talented, but then she, like, basically panicked and decided to give a cow a makeover. And it's like, really? Like, all of the talents and skills that you have from, like, your pageant days, like, you couldn't put on a dance performance, you couldn't sing, like, literally in this episode, she was just going on and on to Lou about, like, all the different things she could do, to the point to where it, like, annoyed Lou. So, like, I don't understand I don't understand what happened with Destiny. Like, I guess it's just, like, I guess they just had to have everything going wrong, and I guess that's why they decided to have Destiny panic and do, like, the weirdest thing possible, like giving a cow a makeover. But anyways, also, basically, maybe if Winnie wasn't on the treasure hunt with Bill and Jake, then maybe she could have sung a song for the telethon because she can sing and she plays guitar and everything. Also, Luke could have sang too because, like, did y'all not hear her singing during the campfire? Like, she actually has a good voice, and Miranda May actually revealed in an interview that she really can sing. So, actually, they could have done the typical Disney Channel thing. You know how this network loves making all of their main characters sing, and they could have had Lou give, like, a great performance too, but I guess they didn't wanna go in that direction. She was also hosting the telethon, so I guess that probably wouldn't have allowed her to perform anyway. So, but also, speaking of Winnie, since I did bring her up, her storyline with Jake and Bill as the three find the treasure was actually really well written. I'm going to be honest and say that I didn't really find the continuous storyline with them trying to find the treasure hunt all season like all that interesting. But in this episode, the treasure hunt story was actually the most interesting out of all the other treasure hunts or treasure hunt related storylines that happened this year. Maybe it's just because there were maybe it was just because there was more at stake here that it was more interesting, or maybe I was just glad that they finally found the treasure and now the whole treasure hunt storyline is officially over. Because I'll be honest again and say that I really did not want them to drag out the treasure hunt thing all the way into season 7. So I'm glad they found the treasure before season 6 ended. But yeah, but seriously, the scenes with Jake, Bill, and Winnie finding the treasure were actually really cool. It was really like an adventure that the three went on, and it definitely made this finale feel just a little bit more like a finale, if that makes sense. Also, Jake, Winnie, and Bill had the strongest friendship moment in this whole episode. Later on, I'm going to explain more about what I mean, but one thing I didn't like about the finale is how we really didn't get any solid friendship moments from any of the other characters, like, because maybe there was just too much going on, as well as there was also just like too many reoccurring characters they threw into one episode for that to happen, which again, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Jake, Winnie, and Bill were the only characters out of like the main characters that actually got a chance to show how close they've gotten as friends over the summer. Like, you could see how each of them were encouraging one another as they tried to get through each task in their last treasure hunt adventure, and it was really sweet. The next highlight of the finale, in my opinion, of the finale, in my opinion, was how Lou actually got really emotional when it looked like they weren't going to be able to save the camp. Like, Lou was on the verge of tears, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing Lou ever that emotional. Like, maybe except when her dog died in the first or second season. But yeah, like, that was just like a really powerful moment. And while I didn't want to see Lou be sad, like, that moment made it very clear how much Lou cares about the ranch, or rather, how much she cares about what she wants the ranch to do, which, as she says, and I'm quoting Lou here, that I just wanted to create a place where kids could have fun and learn a ranch and grow into the best versions of themselves. And yeah, and I think that's a very cool and amazing thing that Lou wants to do. So I'm really happy that she mentioned that in this episode, and that whole moment where she was just on the verge of crying. And like, again, I've never really seen Lou that emotional, and so it just like really took me by surprise. And yeah, so clearly we see how much Lou cares about running the camp and everything. And it's really great. Although I will say that I kind of wish that I guess, I don't know, I feel like that this is something that I'm going to talk about like later on in my like full like season 6 review that I'm going to try to do soon. But I think one thing about this season was that I really feel like that Lou didn't get like as much screen time as she got in the other seasons. Maybe it's because Miranda, who plays Lou, was doing more directing this time around, and so maybe that's why her character couldn't be in the episodes as often. And maybe I'm just imagining things. Maybe Lou did get a lot of screen time. But I feel like that, like, I don't know, I feel like that compared to the other seasons, like, Lou just kind of, I feel like her character was kind of pushed to the side. And so I feel like we didn't really get to see, like, about, like, I feel like that, like, some episodes, it just felt like we didn't really see, like, Lou that much. And so we really didn't, and because of that, I feel like we didn't see sometimes I feel like we didn't get to see just how much like this camp meant to her, because I feel like her character was just kind of pushed to the side. But obviously obviously she does care about the camp though, right? Obviously she does. She's always like running around trying to fix everything and trying to do everything that she can for the camp. And so yeah, um, it's very obvious. But I do wish that maybe we would have like maybe throughout the season just have like a little bit more of Lou's character, and hopefully that's what happens in season 7, is that we kind of get a little bit more screen time on Lou again. So that way we can like, see her maybe what I'm asking for is just more moments like this where we truly see like Lou like really get emotional and kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course I don't want Lou to be sad, but at the same time, um yeah, just maybe more moments like this where we just see Lou like really talking about how much all of this means to her. That would be great. Yeah. So yeah, I overall really enjoyed this episode. I'm kind of glad it was a little predictable, because I don't think I could have handled it ending on a cliffhanger that we have to wait all the way until the next season to find out what would happen. Now, even though I did like the episode, there is one thing I kind of didn't like all that much about it. And it goes back to what I briefly mentioned before about how only Jake, Winnie, and Bill got a moment that really showed their connection as friends. And it kind of bothers me a little how we didn't really get the same thing happen with Noah and Destiny, or Lou and Parker. But at the same time, I kind of understand why they didn't happen, because there was just so much going on with saving the ranch in this episode that I guess they just didn't really have any chance to slow down and talk to each other. But I wish they did have that time, because with this being the last episode and all, like before season 7, like this is going to be the last time that we're seeing these characters. And so, I mean, at least for a while, for probably a very long time. And because we don't know when season 7 is coming out now. And so it's just, I feel like that for the last episode, I really wish that we did get a little bit more time to slow down. Like maybe if this episode was like an hour long instead of like just 30 minutes, we could have gotten that. But yeah. And also, I just want to say this episode like squeezed in like pretty much like all the reoccurring characters that they had over the whole season, which I'm very conflicted about how I feel about that decision. I guess it made sense to have extra characters like Megan and Victoria to help with saving the ranch and everything, but I feel like having like all these reoccurring characters like the Marshall and the Buffalo Betties and blah blah blah, like I just feel like that having all these recurring characters took away time that I wish this episode would have saved for the main characters. And I also feel like that including all the other characters in the campfire scene was also weird to me because I usually prefer the campfire scenes to just be with like the main cast of characters, if that makes sense. Like it's not really a big deal. It's just something that I kind of prefer, that the campfire scenes that they just are with the main cast of characters. But anyways, also when I found out that Victoria was going to be in this when I found out that Victoria was going to be in this episode, I will admit that I wasn't too excited about that. And it's nothing against her character, actually. I actually really liked Victoria in this episode. And by the way, when I'm talking about like all these different reoccurring characters and how I don't know how I feel about all of them being in the finale episode, again, nothing against these characters at all. I like a lot of these characters. I really like Megan and I love her relationship with Noah and everything. But I'm just talking more so about the fact that this is just the final episode of the season. And I just feel like, I guess in one way, it did make sense. Maybe they thought that, like, hey, having all these different characters into the final episode, like, that would make this episode feel like more epic and more like a finale because we're getting everybody all together one last time. But I don't know, at the same time, I just feel like I really wanted the finale episode to just be focused on the main cast of characters, like, because this is going to be the last episode that we get to see of this show for probably a while. And so, yeah, I don't know. But again, it's nothing against any of these characters. And so, yeah. But anyway, I interrupted what I was going to say specifically about Victoria, which is that I wasn't that excited about her being in this episode, and not because there's anything wrong for character. Again, I actually really liked Victoria in this episode, probably more than I liked her character in the other episodes that she was in. But if you know me, then you know that I've been shipping Lou and Parker since season 5. And so Victoria just reminds me of the fact that Lou and Parker will probably never be canon because Parker and Victoria are dating now. So, yeah, and being reminded that my favorite, like one of my favorite, like non-canon Disney Channel relationships of all time will probably never be canon kind of stings a little. So, but that's all. That's the only reason why I wasn't that excited about her character. But like her character really was interesting in this episode, at least to me. And the actress who played her did such a good job with it, with her character. So yeah, so again, nothing against Victoria, nothing against all of these characters, by the way. I was just saying that I really just wanted like a little bit more like moments saved, like just for our main cast members, like just for the main characters, if that makes sense. Also, speaking of Lou and Parker, we didn't get much interaction with these two at all in this episode. Like, one of my favorite things about the show is their friendship. Yes, of course, I want them to be together, but I also love their friendship too. And it was disappointing that they didn't have much interaction in this episode. Like, I was kind of expecting Parker to at least try to cheer Lou up when she was upset about almost losing the camp, but no, we didn't even get that. Like, anyways, aside from that, I think this was a decent finale. Now, how does it compare to the other finales that we've had of Bunk so far? It's really hard to say. My personal favorite finale is still the season 5 finale. I feel like it's just really hard to top that finale for me. I mean, we get so many sweet moments between Lou and Parker. We get a really interesting storyline with Lou where she has to confront her fear of change. Parker's sister makes an appearance and he almost leaves to go back home with her. And yeah, it's just like I'm just very biased towards that episode. And so yeah, so that's why it's my favorite. But I think like the weakest finales in my opinion are the season 3 and season 4 finales. Yeah, I don't think that the season 4 finale should have been a crossover with Raven's Home. And I remember not being interested in Finn, Destiny, and Mateo's storyline in the season 3 finale at all. Like, compared to that, like Jake, Winnie, and Bill's storyline in the season 6 finale was much, much, much more interesting. Although the thing that I did like about the season 3 finale is the story of Emma, Zuri, and Ravi giving Lou ownership of the camp. And at least in that finale, we know what Emma, Zuri, and Ravi are up to, and we get like a final conclusion to their stories, and we know that the three are off pursuing their biggest dream. So I really like that about the season 3 finale. But I think overall, I would say like I think that the other storyline in the season 3 finale just kind of, it isn't as good. So it kind of like drags the it kind of like isn't as good compared to some other finales because of that. I feel like the season 1 finale is where I think that's where Xander was, like, almost going to leave the camp, and, like, I think where his dad wanted him to play football instead, and I think that episode was good too, but I haven't seen it in a while to make a proper judgment of it. And then the season 2 finale was okay. Obviously, the cabins burning down was, like, the most unexpected thing about that episode. Also, it's strange with season 2 because like the finale technically there's another episode that airs after the finale where like Zuri and Griff are together and I think they try to like run away or something. I not run, I don't know. They try to be together, but then Emma and Xander don't want them to be together. So I don't think that's the finale though, but it does. But I think it aired after the finale, so it's kind of weird. I don't think it's the finale because in the actual finale, the cabins burn down, and then season 3 continues where the cabins were still not they weren't built yet, they weren't rebuilt yet, and so yeah, so I think the actual season 2 finale is the one where the cabins burn down and everything. And like I said, that episode was okay. But I think I'm gonna say that the season 6 finale was probably my second favorite one. This is subject to change because I might rewatch the other finale episodes and change my mind. But yeah, for now, I think the season 6 finale was my second favorite Bunk season finale. The season 5 finale is still my absolute favorite one. So yeah. But anyways, I think that's all of my thoughts on the season 6 finale. Let me know what you thought about the finale of season 6 finale of Bunk'd if you watched it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to love yourself and be kind to everyone. Bye.